What's up, guys? This is the CJ Murray Podcast, an exploration of music philosophy from a Christian perspective. These are stories and insights to encourage and challenge our views of music, God, and who we are. Thanks for listening, and now, today's conversation. We met, of course, at PCC, but it's been a hot minute. It's been a really hot minute.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
No, I feel like it's been like 3 lifetimes, truly.
Oh, my word.
So
I know.
busy.
When did you graduate? Just remind me.
2023.
2023. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. It's getting farther and farther away.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Man. And then I saw on your Instagram, IT help desk. Is that your day job?
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of funny. Like I was into music, but I never wanted to do it as a career,
Sure,
ironically,
yeah.
at that time. Probably my view of what a music career was pretty small. But my parents were like, find something that you can make a living with that you can use to like support your dreams. And I had like tried to break into like an old computer that was my dad's, and they were like, "Computer science, that's what you should do." And I was like, "Sure," knowing nothing about it. I mean, I enjoy it. It's cool. It worked out well.
So how do you feel like right now between having an IT day job plus music after the fact, do you feel like right now you're riding that balance pretty well?
Dude, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I I'm like when is the balance going to tilt? Cuz right now it's like it is perfectly split between like my day job and like my music because I don't know. I feel like to go higher up, a lot of jobs like bleed over into like weekends or like evenings. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, do I really want to do that? But
Yeah.
yeah, right now it's perfect. Like truly God's good. It's a good setup.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
How did you what's the story of how you got into your band and how that came together? Because it didn't exist before it existed, like you were the OG with some other people. Like, how did that come together?
Yeah, dude. Oh, it's so cool. I had signed up for like this online like platform where you meet local musicians, right? Because I live in a pretty rural area of Virginia. So I like created an account, and this guy reached out to me. But it was right before I was about to leave college. And so I was like, I'm not even gonna respond because I'm not gonna be here. It's gonna be like a full year. And so then I graduated and I was like, well, I still want people to play with. And I was like, they have to have found somebody by now. Like they were looking for like a lead singer, I think is what he said. And I was like, they had to find somebody, but just in case, I'm gonna reach out. And so I reached out to Josh, my drummer now, and he was like, "Yeah, we have a full studio. Like we have a band that gets together and plays. We just need someone to like write songs and sing." And I was like,
That's
"That's
wild.
yeah,
That's
that's
wild.
like
It's like all the details were already in place and you just got the privilege to be the final piece of the puzzle.
yes. No, it's so rare, I feel like, to like have like moments in life where you're like, these are the gifts I have and this is the place I'm supposed to be using them. And that was like one of those moments, and I was like, that just feels like God. Like it just came together so perfectly and we jive really well. Like it was really cool.
Well, and it also helps that like on top of being able to sing, you also play guitar.
Mm.
And do you write a lot of the song like what place do you have in writing a lot of the songs? Like how collaborative is it and how does that look as they come together?
I write the lyrics and then I do most of the songwriting, but we're definitely moving more collaborative as we like get to know each other and like get better at writing together. Initially it was just me being like, here's ideas, and that's our singles that we have on Spotify is mostly just pre-existing ideas and like putting out music, but we're working towards an album, and it's way more all of our styles blending and kind of finding our sound.
Sure,
So
yeah.
which I like because so originally they were like, do you want this to be like a band thing? Because like we'll just play with you if you want to like do it under your name. We just want to like make music. And I was like, I feel like yeah, right, dude,
Like way too
ridiculous.
humble. Way too humble.
Yeah. I'm like, no, if it's under my name, I feel like that limits it to like my vision. But like I felt like there's so much more potential as a band because I could tell like right off the bat that they were like, I mean, they have way more experience. They just have time in music. So I was like, I don't want to limit it by just being my project. I want it to be like our project. So,
Well, and plus the other thing too is it seems like bands that don't go by one person's name, but like, I mean, take Bastille, like they're a
mm,
band and like you have the lead singer who tends to be the main face of the band.
mm-hmm.
Or like even if you have a band name, of course not one person's name, but then of course you have the music videos. And it seems like usually the lead singer, so it's like the way I kind of look at your guys' social media and your branding so far up to this point, it's like really, you went with not by your name, by the band name, but it seems like as the lead singer, you're kind of taking on that role of like
Mm-hmm.
kind of being the face of the band. And like they seem to be cool with it.
Yeah, no, they are. I'm like the one that's like I feel like I'm trying to push it to be like even, but like
Yeah,
they're a lot of like very background, you know what I mean? Like they're doing so much. Like I don't want to say that I'm the only one like the most important or anything. Like not the case at all. I just happen to
absolutely.
be on the case, right? Um and so I'm like I love showcasing like people's abilities, but they're like, "Nah, like you can be at the front." So, getting creative with content, like
Yeah.
showing the band, but then also like branding. I'm recognizable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a balance.
It is a balance. I enjoy the small post you put up where like you're just casually sitting there and you like pan around to someone doing something and I follow it. I'm down with it.
I'm,
I think it's cool. I
thank
think
you.
it's fun.
Thank you. Actually, genuinely, thank you for like actually taking the time to watch it. I appreciate it.
Well, and I mean it's actually funny because oh man, this is just so cool. There's a couple things going on for me right now, but like number one, I I had a professor that took my wife and I out to eat before this, and he was just talking about the people that chase their dreams and the people that don't. And like
Mm,
it's like there's so many people that point at things and say, "Oh, I'd love to do that. I'd love to go there. I'd love to do this," but they're never going to do something about it.
yeah.
Um
Yeah.
and I feel like especially from college going back to like when we were both in school. Now granted I was ahead of you. I think we met when
Mhm.
I was more towards senior and into my masters. Because I
Yes. Yeah.
graduated 2019. And
Okay.
so, but
Mhm.
like, there's a lot of people that were into music, of course, right? Like, there's
Mhm.
a lot of people, and I still remember. Oh man, one of my favorite memories of you. I'm sorry, I'm taking these tangents. One of my favorite memories of you is I knew that you were on SoundCloud and you had a good song on there and you wrote music. And
Mm.
then there was another person that I met that also wanted to write music and they wrote their own stuff. And I walked by you guys sitting next to each other and I backtracked. And you guys weren't talking. You didn't look like you knew each other. And I said, "Hey, I think her name was Anna." I was like, "Anna, do you realize that Joy writes music? Joy, do you realize that Anna writes music?" And you guys
Yes.
looked at each
Yeah.
other, and it was like, "Oh, well, I didn't know." It was like to me that was such a gratifying moment of like I'm affecting the world here. But
Yeah,
but
no, I remember that. It was like chapel, right? It was
oh
like
yeah,
some yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. But anyways, and this like my main point doesn't have to do with her. This is as a whole. But I think that there's a lot of people in college that wanted to do music, but they just went into their careers and like nothing seemed to get off the ground. And
Mm,
for me, it's just been a real pleasure to see you,
mm,
get your wings off the ground and kind of get writing stuff. And like you
mm.
said, how crazy it is that you landed into a full band where like everything was kind of set to go. That's just the amount of people that wish it could be that clear cut for them is just probably insane. But
Yeah.
no, so like it's so again, I thought of all that because we're talking about your social media
Mm,
and like the posts that you're doing, and no,
mhm,
it's just been really cool just to see you guys doing shows and going on tour. And I was listening to some of Catapult City right before um going into this conversation, and for me, I had this moment where I'm like, dude, it's so cool to listen to a band's music and be like, dude, I'm gonna talk with the lead singer. That's like so cool. That's just
aw,
next level, like
you're
it's
so kind.
like there's a piece of me that's oh my word. Oh. Oh, what's the band that wrote Bright? Like one girl lead singer, two guys.
Mm, I
Oh,
don't know.
oh my word. That's gonna haunt me. Whoa. My
Or to think about it at like midnight, like 3 hours after the conversation.
yeah, I'm gonna think about it like way, way later. But anyways, I just think it's so cool just to kind of see all that you're doing. And what's it been like live performing? Because how many live shows do you have under your belt at this point?
Five, six,
Yeah,
four. I think yeah, four last year, two this year. Yeah, so only six.
dope,
Yeah,
dope. What's it like? Do you feel like you guys have gotten better at the shows, like kind of jiving more, being in front of people?
definitely, definitely. Um, there, it's live is another set of skills. I'm continually learning how it works. Our we just got a new bassist, EJ, and she is very familiar with live. So I have learned a lot from her. There's a lot of like reading the room. I don't know, I just had this like idea that you get up and you play and then you sit down, but it's really about like you are setting the precedence of energy for the show, right? And you're like you're kind of tailoring a little bit to who's in the audience. And it's very like energetic and thrilling. You think it's like a big deal to mess up. I guess when you're first getting into it, at least I did. I had like a lot of performance anxiety. Like I used to like dread like piano recitals like at my or specials at my church. And I was like, I don't know how I could ever be a performer, but like in that environment, like something about that context, it matters way less if you mess up. People really don't notice. I've bombed notes. Like truly, like that's one of the things I used to get the most anxious about, and I bombed notes and nobody noticed because I was doing something cool at the time, or I was like they were just like, yeah, it was like a great show and like sound and energetic, and like all the things you worry about don't really
Yeah,
matter, and the things that you don't think are important are actually like the most important things about live. Like you do want to sound good, definitely, and Josh like dials in our sound, but the most important thing is having good energy and like making the audience feel like connected in some way,
yeah.
I think.
Like when you have a good time, the audience has a good time.
Yes,
And like if you
yes.
let your mistakes get to your head, like they'll sniff fear a mile away.
Oh, they do, yeah.
Oh my word. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
What's like what would you say has been one of like a highlight moment while performing? Like
Ooh.
where it just hit you, wow, like this speaks to me more than other moments.
That's a thanks for asking. That's a good question. The first moment was the first show we ever did, which looking back was like not the best, but it felt amazing. Like it was, working out all the kinks and everything. But like first show, I remember like stepping out, like it wasn't even on a stage. It was on the floor of this like restaurant that's like semi closed. They cater now, so like cleared out, just like empty building, right? We're on stage, we're in a corner set up with our gear, and I'm looking out at like my friends and my family and like all these people that have come to support us that just know us personally. And I was like, just had this moment of like, this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And I had so much peace. And it was wild. Like I could count on my hands the number of times I felt like that. And just like these are the gifts I have in the context I'm supposed to be using them.
Hmm.
And I thought that was cool. And then second moment, kind of closely related, we just played Super Rad, this arcade in town. And I was like, we played there twice in 1 week. So the second time was like deja vu. I was like, we've already done this, we've already played it. And then got up on stage, and there that Saturday night there were like a lot of people that like actually knew our music and were fans already.
Oh wow.
And yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
the energy was so good. It was so encouraging. So like I get up and I see them like singing the lyrics, and I was like, this is why, if this is where I'm supposed to be, like they're the why, And I was like, I don't know, that was just so rewarding. It wasn't like about me and like how well I was performing or like how I was coming across. I was like, I'm playing this show right now for them. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have a show. So
Wow.
I think I feel like those are related, but those stick out the most to me like right now. I'm sure there'll be more in the future.
Wow. And
No.
it sounds like what you guys have going is pretty sustainable, because like
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
have day jobs, you guys have the time.
Yeah.
They're really experienced. I think one of the really difficult parts of any musician trying to get off the ground is either they don't have the experience or like their skill is kind of
Mm.
still trying to grow because like that's what's really hard about it. I watched a YouTube video today and it was like 10 ways to make 10 ways to make money with music in 2025, like one of those types of videos.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
like the top few ways, it's like, oh yeah, like this is the best bang for your buck, pretty easy. And I thought to myself, she said easy, but it kind of assumes on a decade of skill. you know
Yes.
like
Yes.
it just kind of assumes that you've locked into your instrument and are really comfortable. It assumes that you're a good singer. It assumes you can write a
Yes.
decent song, and
Mm-hmm.
um
Mm-hmm.
and so yeah.
Yes. It's easy if you know like all the little nuances and the like decade of decisions that you're making, and like all the all the factors that play into it, then it's easy.
Yeah. What's one way that you feel like, and I'm sure there's a ton of ways, but like, what's some of the biggest ways you feel yourself growing as a musician as you're like getting to the band and all that?
Oh, do you want like alphabetical or chronological order?
Chronological. I mean, like, there's a reason I'm not saying the biggest way, because like then your brain really fries. But yeah,
Right.
just what's one of the first things that comes to your mind?
Oh, okay. Right off the bat, I spent most of my life like writing music solo, and I would come in with this very rigid mindset because I'm like, this is the vision of the song, this is how I'm gonna do it, and I'm the only one involved. Like I'm the committee and the chairman of the board, like I'm making all the decisions, right? So coming into a band context, very interesting because like I had this specific vision, but I know as soon as I bring it into a band that they're gonna change it and they're gonna modify it. And better, definitely better. Like there's a lot of things like versions of the song I value, but I think we make better music together than I make on my own, certainly. But it's like humility and flexibility, I guess. You can only get so attached to a version of a song if you want to, like, if I want to play it in a band, if I want it to see the light of day. And I think it was like I had this shift from like I'm writing for myself and I'm doing everything to like I am making space for them to do their thing and like to be able to add elements. I'm like writing for other people, not just myself, I guess is the shortest way to say it.
Yeah,
But that's one thing that has been a big adjustment for me.
that's awesome. I can tell
No.
you, I'm not there.
Fair.
I no, like I've, and part of it is I feel like, and not that I'm not that I'm trying to single out like too many specific people, but like I feel like friends that I brought my music to, I just
Mm,
I don't trust their experience enough to be the gauge.
yes.
I've brought friends in, they're like, "Oh, it'd be really cool if you did this," but it implies like 30 hours of rework. And I'm thinking, yeah, I don't care what you say, I'm not gonna change to that.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
and so for me, I feel like I don't rub shoulders with enough people in my
Mm,
realm to have a good
mm,
say to direct my course. And so I think that's maybe one of my excuses. But
mm,
but also, like I produce under my name. And
mm,
so for me it's
mm,
like I think there's a pride to it, like this is going to
mhm.
represent me and I don't care if it's bad, I'm going to do it. Now, I've had someone critique me
Fair.
about that, like they're like, "Well, that's not a good mindset. Don't do bad, do good." and okay.
Right.
But yeah, it is hard. I know in the future that like most indefinitely I'll get to where you're at, where I know it's down the pipeline, but I'm just kind of bracing myself to relinquish. And I think part of it too is like, at least with electronic music, I feel like it's so nuanced. Like
Mhm.
I know for you guys, I mean, for you with instrumentalists, it's like they know their instrument the best. So when
Yes.
the
Yes.
drummer says, "Guys, I know the flow that we're going with the song. I'm telling you, if I do a fill here, it's gonna work. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, like, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
But like with electronic music, when you have 100 tiny spinning plates, I feel like my brain's crafted those nuances. There's no one with a specific
Mm,
insert. I don't know. That's my
mm-hmm.
headspace on that. I'm just kind
Yes.
of, I'm talking it through.
Yeah. No, I have so much respect for what you do. I think sometimes I think one of the reasons like I chose a band over like a solo project is because like you have to have so much confidence if you were the one making the creative decisions. Like you have to know a lot more than like in a band context where like you're saying like, you know, like you do this part and like I'm trusting you for this area, you know? Like I think as a producer like a more individual like you still should be getting input. Like that's always valuable and I'm sure
Yeah,
you do.
for
But
sure.
like I admire the like you're saying, it's the like this is what I'm making, like regardless of quality, like I'm putting under my name and I take ownership of it. And
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems gutsy to me. I think it's cool.
Yeah, it can keep you up at night. That's for sure.
For sure.
Um, okay, well, just because I'm like positive that your band's gonna listen to this episode, um, what like just take a moment and brag on all the people in the band. Like
Mm.
I'm really curious for you to walk through their highlight reel and like what they bring to the table and like personality or just all of it. I'm just really curious.
Oh my gosh. Josh is the drummer and historically Josh has been the one that I've worked the most with. We're the ones that like think a lot about everything, like direction of the band. Like he's super into the gear. He knows so much about the gear, and he also is like very interested in like film cinematography. And he's very good at it. So we're actually like filming a music video soon, or
Oh, that's
like
awesome.
yeah, so excited. He's just genuinely one of the most like overall talented people I know. Like he can be good at anything he decides he wants to be. So like he can paint, he can sculpt, he can drum, he can like mix. He has an ear for mixing. He can do like cinematography. He like ridiculous. And he's also like he's very experienced. He's been playing music for a long time. And he's definitely the person I go to like talk things through and like you know sometimes I'm in my head about like decisions or whatever, but like I so appreciate him for so many reasons. And so he's the drummer, and then Luke is our guitarist. Luke is just crazy talented. He took up guitar. He used to draw a lot, and then his mom bought him a guitar because he wanted to play guitar, and he gave up drawing, and he just practiced like hours a day, every day on
What
guitar.
but was it a sacrifice? I mean, what I kid, no offense to people who draw.
Right. Not so much a sacrifice to you.
No.
You're like, dang it. Can't do something I didn't care about anymore. What a shame.
My wife is an artist. I respect it. I have a high respect.
Yeah, no,
But yeah,
it's a whole
guitar.
different type of skill. Yeah, no, he just he'll like we'll be in practice and he'll be chilling and we'll just be talking. All of a sudden he just like bust out this super cool riff. I'm like, wait, what is that? Did you write that? And then we'll like can we work on that? And, like all the time. Just comes up with cool stuff. Um so and then there's Micah, our keys player, which just knows apps probably everything about synth. He would probably disagree, but like from my perspective, knows everything about synth, has like a synth board custom that he's built. He's very into
Really?
like ambient electronic experimental music. Although he is doing piano music now. He's releasing piano music. Go check out his stuff. It's under Micah Pick and also Oak Canopy, I think is the name. I really should know this. It's something. Anyways, he's like producing piano music on the side, or maybe gonna be his main thing, but like yeah.
Now I'm really curious because you said
Mm,
that like about synth, I'd probably disagree. I'm
mm,
really curious to just put some nuggets out there. Like
yeah.
what's his perspective of like synthesizers and gear and that?
Oh, okay. So truthfully, I'm not a synth girl, so
Sure.
I can attempt to answer. I he definitely has analog synth he's built. Like when he comes into practice, he has two keyboards set up, like a two keyboard stand, and he's always like alternating between them and like custom sounds. I again, synth is not my strength, and he explains it to me, but he's just so smart about it that I'm like I don't know enough to like probably appreciate what you're telling me, but I do pick up stuff, and yeah, he's very good.
Signal
He's,
flow.
yeah.
All about signal flow.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, he has the custom panel like at his house. Like I saw it one time and he was like plugging in wires and like he's like, yeah, and this goes to this and then it modulates this sound and he was like showing me and I was that's like that's a whole science. Like you could that's a rabbit hole. You could spend
It is a
so much time.
science. It
Yes.
it truly is an
Yes.
art and a science. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it takes a special type of brain.
Yeah,
Um
it's a ton of money. That's where I'm at. I'm like, I just could not afford like the VSTs and the in software synthesizers. Like for the foreseeable future, I'm content.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
no. Sometimes I'm like, man, being a singer-songwriter is nice because like I feel like I have the cheapest deal. You know what I'm
Oh my
saying? Like
word,
when
it's
I
so true though.
pen and
Yeah.
paper, you know what I mean? Maybe some auto tune, but like I might not even be mixing my stuff. I might just be like writing out the ideas. Like,
You know what's so interesting though? That reminds me of that Pareto principle where it's the 80-20. Like
mm,
20% of the work does 80% of the result. And
yes,
so I think that for
yes,
songwriting, it's like when it comes to mixing, because like my day job is I'm a mixing engineer. So like that's kind of a lot of my headspace. But you can have a great song with a bad mix and it'll still work out there in public. People won't care.
hmm
But you
hmm
cannot have a great song and a bad oh no, you can't have a bad song with a great mix. Because it doesn't matter how great the mix is, if it's not a good song, it's not gonna fly.
yes,
So like
yes.
songwriting and arrangement's huge. It's like everything.
It's about the soul of it. It's not so much the execution as is the energy. Same with live performing. Once
Yeah.
again, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's really cool. It's really cool. Last person in the band,
Yeah.
because I will tangent like 15 times. I will forget, but we just recently got a new bassist, EJ. EJ has her own band, Koba, that we're touring with this early summer,
Love it.
May into May through June. And like girl is so good at just so many things. Like killer bassist. Just like very much more the production side. I feel like y'all especially would have a lot to talk about. I feel like you think similarly in how you like approach music. But she's very like keen on the performance side and so she plays on the Liberty Collective, the worship in-house worship team. So she
Nice.
has tour experience and tracking experience and just gear and like oh my gosh, what an asset. I am so relieved that we have her for tour. It's oh,
Now, when
it's
did
cool.
she join the band? Because it's really funny because when I was doing some like, just catch up
Yeah.
research today, I like
Yeah.
went on your socials and I saw her and I was like, oh, I don't remember seeing a girl bassist. Like, how recent is that?
I was like month and a half ago. I was gonna make like a hey get to know you poster, like like we have a bassist deal, and then like we got so busy with tour planning, and
Yeah.
I when I get overwhelmed with things I have to do, social media just like I, it's not highest on the priority. Like I making content is important, and that's a whole different discussion. But like, anyways,
Yeah.
so
No,
I
and
should have done that, but
no, you're good. And like one thing with content too is like oftentimes if you have a slow season with content, just accept it. But like then
mm,
create a backlog. So
mhm.
so like you
That's a
can
good thing.
have yeah, so like I mean for example, so like this podcast, like as much as I hate to say it, this episode isn't going to come out for maybe 6 months because I'm creating a backlog and you just
Mm,
happen to be episode
mhm,
15.
mhm.
And so
Fair.
what it does is then you can be consistent
Mm,
and then okay, like now I have only a month left of content that's ahead and can be scheduled out. Like I'm just gonna for the next 2 weeks focus on creating another month and a half of content. Like this is my focus week on
Mm,
this. And
hmm
then it sustains you through the other periods. And that was a hard lesson I had to learn from last year.
mm. No, that's thank you. That yeah. No, that's good advice.
And scheduling out is such an offload because
Mm.
like I've learned that it's so much easier than like intentionally clicking post as opposed to going meta business because then you just know, oh yeah, like every Monday, Thursday, it's going to get posted at 3 p.m. And then it's a load off your mind. You don't have to think about it.
That's cool. I do need to deep dive into it. I have the Meta Business app. I just yeah,
it
I probably not using it to full potential.
it's free. It's free.
Yeah.
So,
Ridiculous. They're getting our data, but like it's free.
so prepping for tour, how's that been going? Like how far out are you? I saw some locations and tour dates out, but like what's that process looked like for you guys?
A lot of learning on the go. We I think we started actually like we decided like okay, we're actually going to go on tour. I think November last year. And so the thing about booking, I don't know if like we have a good image and that helps. Like I feel like we do, but like um it's hard to say what factors are playing into it, but booking is definitely less it's more simple, straightforward than you think it is, but you just kind of have to know a couple essential things I feel like to do it well, but
Mm,
it's doesn't seem as hard as I thought it was. Um
mm,
but it's really like connecting with bands, right? So you want to come with a full lineup. Venues like when you come with a full lineup. They don't want to do the work of like putting it together, you know? So like coming with connections or finding venues that like hosting like small bands and then they like pairing people up. We found a couple of those and we're really excited about playing those.
Oh, where it's like a split show where you're playing with another band.
Yes, well like I mean all of them were playing with other bands, like local support, but some venues like want to help get bands off the ground and so they're very willing to like
Mm.
set us up with local people and then others are like, "Great, you want to play here? We'll give you a hold. What's the lineup?" You know? And then we go out and like find people that like a lot of Instagram messages reaching out to bands. EJ has a marketing email, marketing little business thing that she's doing, like reaching out and like centralized there. So midnight serial marketing, planning our tour. Thank you very much. But it's just yeah, it's not hard necessarily, but it's like what you said about being easy. Like there's a lot of experience and knowledge, little things that help you a lot knowing them, and that's what makes it hard. So like we were fortunate that we were around a lot of people that are in that system, and can give us advice or like email templates to use, things like that. But it's so far, I feel really good about tour, almost scary good. I'm like, what's gonna go wrong? Like
There's always
Googling
something.
online. Yeah, yeah,
Oh man.
planning for contingencies, all that stuff.
But like those are the bonding memories, like there's something about the world burning that you hate it when it's happening, but then after the fact you'll get a good laugh.
Yes. No, yeah,
Yeah.
it's so true. I feel like musicians are interesting because like you spend like so much time in close proximity with someone on tour. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you develop a special bond. Whatever goes wrong, whatever goes right, like you're together,
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I traveled like 2 summers with a drama group
Oh.
in high school. Yeah. So like it was the Academy of Arts did like plays and we went to churches. And
Mm.
then when I was with PCC, I was on their Proclaim traveling teams. So like I've spent
Oh,
three
yeah.
summers. So I spent 3 summers. I performed in maybe like 100 churches when you count it all together. So it's
That's a
like,
lot.
yeah, I know. So like I've so many host home stories. Um, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say how much experience can maybe cross over or relates. For sure, probably not on the technical side. I mean, in high school, when I was with that drama group, there was so much equipment that it was like, okay, you're in charge of the lights, you're in charge of the sound, and
Mm.
there were so few of us that like there was no single person that ran sound entirely by themselves. You would like swap up, you would like swap
Mm.
people. And I did,
Mhm.
you know, it's funny looking back because I did sound for most of the summers. I ran the sound equipment.
Mm.
Um, but anyways, that's throwback memories. But anyways, there's just so many good memories with people I traveled with,
Yeah.
and a lot of places where it was like you're in a part of the country that's uh just not great, but you walk away like, dude, I met so and so, and this happened, and this happened, and this, and
Mhm.
it's really good times.
That's cool. I'm looking forward to it. This is like a tangent question, but I'm just curious. Did you know, like, when you're on the drama team, did you know like that music was going to be a big thing, or was that like a more recent development?
Oh man, um, oh man, uh, I need to filter through this to see how far down the rabbit hole I don't go. Um,
That's so fair.
yeah, no, I am. I feel like I've always known that in some way or another I was going to end up doing music,
Mm.
and I
Mm.
think, and I think there was a handful of contributors. Um, for one, I think my piano teacher in high school was so inspiring. I
Mm.
like there's no way I would have gone into things the way I did without him. When I was so he was the instrumental director for a church, and he
Mm.
had his own studio upstairs, and after my piano lessons, he'd be like, "Hey, do you want to come check out whatever project I'm working on?" And he ran Ableton, and like any of the projects he showed me, he made it sound so easy. He was like, "Oh yeah, you
Mm.
could do this."
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
the software is accessible. All you need is a laptop, and like I took his word for it. I got FL, and so like I would be taking my laptop to piano lessons. We would go over classical music or whatever we were working on, and okay, here's my FL session, and like I'd show him that, and he was just
Nice.
I like it's such a rarity. I feel like, especially in like
Yeah.
especially conservative circles, that really he acted as like a mentor for that. It's starting out.
Mm. Mhm.
And he really gave me the confidence to go full head speed to that. I think
Mm.
for people starting out in the DAW, it's hard to envision what it could be because you don't have someone over you that's already there. Like it's so easy to be daunted by all the knobs. Like that's a kind of a cliche trope, you know, like you open
Mhm.
up the DAW for the first time and it's like, what on earth am I looking at? But
Mhm.
I had the benefit of someone wiping that away right away. And
Mm.
so like he kind of gave me the gift of not being intimidated.
Mm.
And yeah,
Yeah.
and just saying, yeah, dude, like you can crush it. All you got to do is spend time in it, you know, and
Yeah.
um
That's so encouraging.
yeah. So like so whenever I have friends trying to get into the DAW, like I try and pass that on where it's like, oh yeah, like all you got to do is break projects. Just create a
Mm.
project, click everything, break it. There's tutorials. There's more tutorials than ever out there. Like
Mm.
there's no excuse that it's not achievable. But anyways, to your question, I won't park on this too long. Um just because I'm enjoying talking with you about the band, but um I my dad told me to go to college basically for accounting.
Mm.
And I told dad, "Hey, I want to go to college for music." And he sat me down and basically said, "You're not leaving this couch until you agree with me that you're not doing
Mm.
that," essentially.
Mm.
And in their defense, they said, "If you're willing to teach piano, maybe." And I was like, "No way. I'm not sitting down with 10-year-olds to see them not
Yeah,
practice." So they did
I
give
get
me
it.
so they gave me an option in their defense, but I
Yeah.
went to college for accounting, and honestly, it was a really heartbreaking journey.
Mm.
I prayed really hard about it, and I
Mm.
consulted a lot of godly guys, and the consensus from the council was, when you stand before God, there's no way that you're going to tell God you obeyed your dad, and God's going to say you made a mistake.
Mm.
It's just it's not going to happen.
Mhm.
And like I had a piece about that, and honestly, I did not like accounting. I thought about switching a lot. I just never had a piece about it.
Fair.
And yeah, and it was when, and then I was considering being a missionary, blah blah blah. A friend sat me down. So here, was like a huge turning point for me. I was talking with the girl. We weren't like dating, but we were talking.
Mhm.
And I was doing accounting and business and, ooh, am I going to be a missionary? But, ooh, I want to do music. And she looked me in the eyes and said, I don't care what you do, but you can't do all of it.
Mm.
Like
Mm.
you,
That was a statement.
you can't do all. Yeah. It was a brutal conversation where she
Yeah.
said, like, if you really want to do ministry, that's going to take up all your time. If you really go that route,
Mhm. Mm.
if you want to do accounting and all that, like that's great, but like don't expect you can give all this time to music. But if you really want to do music, go for it. Like there's degrees out there. There's things out
Mhm.
there. And really what I got out of that conversation was God just put it on my heart. I got to do music. I have to.
Mm.
Like it's just
Mhm.
that goes back the farthest. I remember um I've been thinking about this a lot lately. I actually when I was, I don't know, like 10,
Mm.
my dad had a business coworker. He was a computer programmer, but he put out albums, like piano albums. And we went to Mall of America, and he had a show in the Mall of America rotunda. And like I saw my dad's coworker up there on the piano, and I just so badly wanted to go up there to play it. And it like,
Mm.
and what was funny is there was a piece of me that really believed that someone could maybe let me, like, oh yeah, like all this, like I'm good at improv, like I can, like it'd be really fun. But
Mhm.
I think that was a big moment where I realized like I'm gonna end up there, like one way
Mm.
or another. I'm going to end up there, and so yeah, midway through masters, God put that on my heart, and at the college, the studio, I went there right away, and I said, hey, I know you guys exist. I want to help. I'll shadow. I don't want to get paid. I'll do whatever. I don't care. I'll empty the trash.
That's
Class
cool. That was a good
class
idea.
classic intern,
Yeah.
naive mindset, which it's
Gotta
you
start
know
somewhere.
yeah, you're right. And so they forgot about me for 2 years essentially. And then when they were having a
Right.
hard time filling the position, they called me up and said, hey, remember how you came by 2 years ago?
Mm.
Do you want to talk about that? And it was game over from there.
Mm.
um
Mm.
so like that's how my day job's an audio engineer. um and I think as far as making music, I think it's just chipping away. I think this podcast also has to do with it. Like the goal for the
Mm.
podcast is to kind of network with musicians and kind of get their stories. Um,
That's good.
and yeah, and so yeah, like right now I'm just in the headspace of show up, do some music every day, even if it's 5 minutes, an hour, like it doesn't matter. I'm posting YouTube videos.
Mhm.
But also, and this is going to be way over and done by the time this episode comes out, but this June 28th is my first live show. Um,
Nice.
yeah, so the story behind that is I was talking with a friend and I said, "Yeah, man, I need to perform." It's just like it's in me. Well, you saw me on stage at PCC, I think. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, cuz that yeah, so that happened. But
Mhm.
yeah, I was telling a friend, I'm like, "Yeah, bro, like I need to perform. It has to happen." And so
Mhm.
he came back to me a few days later. He said, "Dude, I have this idea. So like I've been wanting to try stand-up comedy. What if we just split a show where neither one of us has to carry it on our own shoulders? I can do some stand-up, you can do some music, we'll find a venue." And so that was like a month ago. And so we did find a venue. We have it booked.
Nice.
I've talked to the company for sound equipment. I'm telling you, the past week I have been neck deep in Ableton Live, like live performing, live looping. I've watched
That's what
so
it's great for that. Yeah.
oh yeah, like I have a launch pad, I've been practicing. And so it's like for me it's really cool to hear everything you're saying,
Mm.
because for me I fully expect to have that moment where
Mm.
you get in front of people prepared, you put in the work. I know I'm putting in the work. And you're like, this is me. This is my gift. This is my craft. And so yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
I
it's
fully hope it is that moment for you. It feels amazing.
yeah, and yeah, and live looping, I love the concept. What's funny is when I did it at PCC, it was the most inefficient way possible, and in hindsight, I realized that because I was going through Reason and like it was on a timeline, the timeline was just repeating, and
Yeah.
it was bur- you know, neither here nor there. It got the job
Sure.
done. But I'm really wanting to, like, right now I'm in the process of taking songs I've already written and being
Mm,
like, how do I turn this into a live loop where I can build it up completely from scratch? I have 3 songs that are going to be live looped.
nice.
3, 2, for sure 2, maybe 3. And then the other 3 I'm going to do are like songs that are already fully produced. Um
Nice.
yeah, so
Nice.
yeah, I'm getting my skin in the game. I still
Good.
I'm fully aware that I'm at the beginning, and um
Here.
but it's all about enjoying it, and that's I keep trying not to stress about it. Just show up, just and like
Yeah.
you know how that goes, show up to practice. But
It's so hard to just enjoy things. Like
oh
it,
yeah,
it, it should be easier, but I feel like if you really care about something, you care about the details and then you're trying to balance enjoyment with mastery.
it's brutal. Yeah. And especially when you get in the mode of you're always thinking of like the next way to improve it. Like I was, like I'm lying in bed last night. I'm like, oh man, so I was going to loop 12 tracks, but like, what if it was 16 tracks? Like, what if, and like, it just, the what if keeps going and going
Yep.
and
Yep.
going.
Yes.
But yeah. And like,
That's cool.
and I think what I'm looking forward to the most, and I'm sure you would already wholeheartedly agree, but like on the journey of music, I just know that I'm going to meet some of the coolest people. Like you're on the road, you
Yeah.
just you got the momentum, and some of the coolest connections are still out there, and you're still going to meet the
Mhm.
people. And the other thing too, and it's kind of like what you said, where like people don't care if you make a mistake. It's like the the producing community and the performing community and just the whole realm, it's a community. Like it's so
Mhm.
inviting. And yeah, there's competitive
Mhm.
business, and I know that once you get into the thick of the industry, it's really competitive and cutthroat. But like at grassroots level, like we're all just jamming, and you just want to
Yes.
make a cool craft. You want to make a cool project.
Yes. I think this is peak. I mean, we're obviously like going as far as we can, but like sometimes I'm like, this might be peak, just like you're saying, the community aspect, making it together, like everything's new, everyone's excited, lots of potential. Like that's a cool point to be at. And you're
It's
like, yeah,
it's like the song "Good Old Days" by Macklemore. Do you know that song?
yes. Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't listen to it often, but every time I do, it really hits. Like, oh man, just when you had that small band in the small venue, it's like
Yeah.
you don't
Mhm.
realize that, like you said, like, yeah, it's probably peak. It's probably
Yeah.
peak.
It's so intimate. Like the connections we have with like people and our music is like so intimate right now. And that's one thing I really like about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, I found the band that I was comparing you guys before to Echosmith.
Listen, listen. Oh, Inside a Dream, is that the EP?
Oh man,
Oh,
I have it pulled
that
up.
that had me in a chokehold when I was a teenager. I cannot
I
express
know.
it.
I
Oh,
know. The bands go so far back. They go
yeah,
so far back. Isn't it interesting
yeah,
how like some things like never really grow old? Like it sits on a
yeah,
Spotify playlist, and like
yes,
no matter how many years go by, that will just
yes.
always be there.
One of one band that I am really inspired by is Hey Ocean. They're a Canadian band, and
Really?
they're kind of officially broken up. They do like reunion
Hmm.
concerts. It's on my bucket list to open for them. So if you're watching Hey Ocean, we would love to open for you. Big
Oh
fan.
my word.
But their music aged really well. Like it was like a 2012 album, I think, but it doesn't sound like 2012's. Like it just I feel like that's gonna be an album that's gonna stay like, some albums age like milk. And but I think this one is gonna like carry the sound better. And yeah, like I classic maybe is the word you could use. I don't know, like
Yeah.
opposite, not trendy, but not bad, not trendy.
Trends are interesting, and just because you mentioned sound, so I when I exercise, I try to listen to audio engineering podcasts. Um,
Mm,
and it's I love a good engineer that goes into the weeds on the details. And just because you
mhm,
mentioned that, it was so interesting because he was talking about trends of like, yeah, so there was this trend of reverb during this era, and then the use of reverb trended this way, and so now we're
Mm-hmm.
dealing with really dry records, and it's
Hmm.
and yeah, and it's
Interesting.
interesting. And so like when he was bringing that up, and they were talking about records that age over time, and he was doing a record where at the time, oh, I forget which way it went, but like everything was being reverbed out, and they went for a really dry sound, and
Mm.
it was like something where, well, everything's trending this way, but they're like, no, but we got to stay true to what our sound is and what we want to do.
Mm.
And because they just stuck with their gut, he said, yeah,
Mm.
like that record aged great because
Mm.
we didn't just make a decision because everyone else was making it. We made this decision
Yes.
because this is what the record
Yes.
needed, and
Mm-hmm.
because of that, the record held more true over the course of time.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's so interesting. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry to cut you off. I was
you're
just gonna
good.
say that's definitely like I don't know. I hate limits. It's a blessing and a curse, but like one of the things is like I don't want to be so locked into like a specific era like someone listen to it and immediately be like, "Oh, 2025." You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
yeah, like broad, I guess tasteful of the area you're in, aware of it, but like not super locked into it. But
And
that's
yeah.
so interesting. Go ahead.
Well, and you know what's so funny is no matter what era you're producing for it, there's always the chance that Instagram will pick it up 2 decades down the road.
Yeah, yeah, we did our first couple shows we covered Maps by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, and then it
Oh, yeah.
blew up like 3 months later, and like now they're like really popular again. I'm like,
It's so
I,
funny. What
yeah,
what's it like working with your engineer? So you work with Two Sides of Tony, is it?
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
he's mixed our stuff.
What's it been like producing and engineering with him?
He I don't because he's at the studio, I come to the studio for practices. Josh could probably answer more of what that process is like, but I just it's it's so cool. Like even if I'm sure you can relate to this, like even if you know the concepts of like how everything works, like EQ compression, like elements of a mix, like it's a whole nother thing to have the ear develop to hear it, you know? It's
Yeah.
like I don't
Yeah.
know. Like it's like mastery and like fine tune. I don't know. He's
Soundgym.co. There's like an online program where it,
yeah.
yeah, you've heard of Soundgym?
I haven't used it, but I've heard of it. Yeah.
I've gone through I've gone through seasons where I've been more serious about it. But yeah, you just add it into your daily routine where every day you like A B what's compressed, what's not, and
Mm.
it's I mean it's exactly what you said. It
Mhm.
really is a skill set that I mean I could get
Yes.
back into the training routine, but yeah, it's I mean
Mhm.
like it's weird to say, but you almost have to be a specific type of person to enjoy it. Cause like, cause I mean, what's so funny is I'm making YouTube videos, and like I've been trying to turn things into shorts and just putting it out there. And sometimes I'll come across a short that I put out where I'm A/Bing something. I'm like, oh yeah, it sounds like way better and way different
Mm.
when I do this. And I'll listen back and I'm thinking like, you know, I'm sure I heard it at the time. I'm sure, and I know it's there. It's just like, and I was locked in when I recorded this, but now that I'm not locked in, I'm just like, dude, please don't spend all your time on those decisions because like hindsight's 2020. That really didn't affect as much as you think. But
No, so
yeah,
relatable. There's like EJ and Josh definitely they have the brain for like or the ear, I guess, to hear things and they'll be like, listen to the difference between these two things. And they're like, doesn't this sound better? And I'm like, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
totally. Probably very significant. Like again, maybe I don't have a developed enough ear, but I'm like, I don't know.
Well, and ultimately, what it boils down to is contrast. And
Mm. Mhm.
so like for example, and this is just something really interesting about a mix is like you could have 90% of the instruments towards the middle, and all
Mm.
it takes is like two things panned hard left and hard right, and
Mm.
suddenly it's a really wide mix.
Mm.
Because there was two things that drastically told you this is really wide. Versus
Mm.
if everything's really wide, your brain's never going to register it as a wide mix. you have to have things centered to tell your brain the other things are wide. And same thing for like a bright mix. You have to have some elements that are softer. You have to have something softer to tell your brain it's dynamic. You have to have some lows to tell your tell your brain that the highs matter. And so it's just like it's such a strange deep dive. Like I yeah,
No, that's actually madly interesting. That's really interesting.
yeah. I my hope is that down the road I can talk to a bit more engineers. I feel like I don't get the chance to nerd out enough. Like I
Fair.
I just sit in a dungeon and make these decisions on my own.
And
Um,
it takes a certain amount of knowledge and the listener's part, or like the person you're talking to appreciate what you're saying.
yeah.
So that makes sense.
Now on the other side of the coin, I'll also say this: it has to be pretty satisfying to like be able to write a song and sing for a song, and know that a team of people is going to take it the rest of the way.
Yes. Oh, dude, before I joined a band and I was like thinking I had to like learn to produce and like all this stuff on my own. It was so overwhelming. Like it was paralyzing. Like I was like, I can't learn all this, not on my own. And I was like, how can I like maybe I need to join a mentorship program? Maybe I need to like find out some people. Like weight lifted, truly. Y'all are doing so much of the heavy lifting, so much. I can't even comprehend how much. I want to learn. I'm interested in music production, but I couldn't be an audio engineer, and I recognize the difference between them. So,
Man, I mean, I couldn't encourage young people enough to just get in a DAW because
mm,
like I'm sure it comes easier when you're younger. I like you're
mm,
just curious. I think the biggest thing is curiosity. Like there's
yes,
everything comes easier when you don't view it as a challenge so much as you're just curious as a whole. Like
yeah,
I'll still like the other day I was in Ableton clicking around. I'm like, oh, so like what if so like what does this do again? And I'm going back and forth with ChatGPT and I'm like, oh, so maybe, and I like found some guy that did something with it and like he'd coded and I'm like, ooh, so like maybe I'll use this code and like, oh well, this is so cool. But
mm, mm-hmm,
but yeah, it just takes time. It's just it's a language. Like that's
yes,
what it comes down to.
yeah.
It's a language that um for better or worse, it takes full immersion. You know, you can only learn so much theory before you got to click around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
someone was talking the other day about like the importance of like play and just having time to be bored and mess with things and how important that is for creativity.
Well, and especially like unplug it, but like so I have like a Novation Launchpad
Nice.
and I bought this I want to say 5 years ago
Mm.
because I just knew I don't feel like it quite right now, but one day I'm going to do live looping. And so
That's
and
so cool.
and so I knew it. And so 5 years later I like it was funny the other week I was up really late with my launch pad and I said to Megan, I said, 5 years ago I knew I'd have to learn this someday.
Mm,
And today is that day. And so and like it's just hitting all the buttons and ooh man, I wonder. Oh man,
mhm,
and like when
mhm,
you make a breakthrough, like just cherishing how cool it is. Like,
mm,
oh my goodness, I couldn't do that before. Now I can do that. And like it's
yeah,
and like those are the moments that make the skill sit and you keep it. Like if it's boring to you, if it's not interesting, and if it's not like cool, don't do it. No harm, no foul. But
mhm,
like it's when you find it cool and fun that like the skill really sets in and you keep the skill and it kind of builds and builds and builds.
yeah,
Or like even I mean I've done music production I guess for 15 years. But like in trying to build a live loop set, even just taking like 6 tracks and be like, oh my goodness, like I just did this. This is so cool. Like ideally, we should never grow out of that. You should
yeah,
always keep that headspace of no matter how much don't lose the joy of that tiny breakthrough, of that tiny nugget of knowledge.
yes, definitely. Hard agree.
And to like, what you're talking about before of like the pressure of having to learn everything. Um, I was listening to one podcast episode where an engineer was talking about that, and he said, "Yeah, it's kind of tragic.
Mm,
And it's sad because there's nothing you can really do about it, because if you really want a team, if you want people to fill in the gaps, you have to pay.
mm,
And if you don't have the money, you don't have a choice. Um, it,
yeah,
it it just kind of is what it is. And to be honest, on the other side of the coin, I don't blame people that charge to fill in the gaps.
yeah,
Like, now, when I do something for someone, I've given up doing for free.
yeah,
Like when you have a
yeah,
day job and a side hustle, podcast and
yeah,
marriage, and it's like, yeah, now I need the money. um,
yeah,
college college was your chance to get me to do something for free, but yeah. So
yeah.
it's
No, that's fair.
and again, to the blessing of you landing in a band, and I'll also say this though, to their credit, I think you're an amazing singer, and
Appreciate.
I think that it's just as much a blessing for them to get someone that can fill the role and have the confidence and just have an amazing voice. Like, I was listening to, I know I already said this once, but like, I was listening to Catapult City before this, and I was like, man, this is so cool. Like, I get to, have this conversation. But
No,
but it's such a beautiful thing when God makes you a piece of the puzzle, and you fit
yes.
and you fit right in.
Yes. Yeah, I
Um,
went from, like, feeling like I had to be everything and do everything myself to, oh, you can depend on other people and other people have gifts and you don't have to, burn yourself out learning everything. I don't know. It's very bonding with people, when your gifts intersect. It's cool.
do you feel like it was daunting when you were placed with the decision of like really committing to the band, or was it like a no-brainer?
It was definitely no brainer. I think I was talking to EJ about this one time where she was like, "Yeah, I have like a plan, like a vision for what I want to do and like long-term goals." And she's like, "Did you have that when you joined the band?" And I was like, "No, I wanted to record music." And then we're like, "Oh, like we could be a band. Oh, we could go on tour." Like just just discovering as we go. I don't know. That tends to be my mentality, but yeah, it was very much a this is the next step and this is what I feel like my calling is or like what I should be doing right now and I don't have any reason not to, you know?
Yeah. How would
You
you
know.
say how would you say the dynamics changed between being the only girl in the band to now having another girl in the band?
Our other bassist was also female, which
Oh, okay,
I
cool.
see. I've been told that's rare, but I know like 5 at this point. So maybe it's Lynchburg, Virginia. Maybe there's something in the water. I don't know.
That's awesome.
Probably the fact also Liberty University that could be a part of it.
Yeah.
But um, I no, I definitely feel like the sibling vibes. It's it's really really precious, like they're really considerate. They care a lot, very protective sometimes. And I genuinely appreciate it and they also have a lot of insight. So I like the dynamic. Again, also I'm a computer science major, so I work in a male dominated field. So being in a band with mostly guys wasn't a hard transition.
Sure.
I, I work with guys. I enjoy working with guys. So to me, it's not weird. I feel like some people could be, but I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. We gel really well.
How do you
Mhm.
feel you guys are doing on branding? Like, branding as a sound, branding as a visual. Like, what's your guys' headspace with that?
I think we're getting better. That
Yeah.
that is that's one of my weaknesses for sure. Josh actually designed our new logo. He came up with a bunch of designs and then we narrowed it down from there. And it's very at the beginning, I was like, we need to have some type of branding. I didn't know what it was, but I was like, we need to have a branding and a vision. And Josh was like, you know what? I think we should start making music, and I think we should just practice, just do, and then
Do it as you
find
go.
out. Yeah, exactly. I think some people do have a specific vision
Yeah.
from the get-go, and that's good for them. And I feel like what worked for us is just trying a lot of things and then
Sure.
evolving into it. So I feel like that's our branding. We're definitely trying to level up. So part of leveling up is figuring out what is you, how to
Sure.
market, how
Yeah.
to present. So
Yeah.
we're definitely thinking about that more.
Yeah.
Um but we're still young. I mean, like we're not
Yeah.
even 2 years old and we're touring, so we still have like a lot to figure out, a lot that we get to figure out. The fun of figuring it out, I guess.
I
So
would, so
yeah.
like, I mean, take my word for what it's worth, um like once you guys release your first full album and you're done touring for the for the first time, I would consider saving the money to look at a branding agency.
Mm,
So like my wife interned with a graphic design agency this past summer that did branding, and then
nice.
and then on top of that, she's being mentored by someone with 20 years experience, kind of in that field,
That's huge.
and yeah, and so I feel like I've got an insight into kind of all that
Mm,
can go into that process,
mm,
and it's like there's so much more than, I mean, that field, any field is a world, but graphic design and a good designer that has done branding for businesses and bands, I would say is 100% worth the financial investment.
mm.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, like it's because it's something that, like for example, like even if you took well, there's a guy that I know, and he's really big into branding for like electrical companies. So like it's really specific. But at the same time though, when he sits down with a new company,
Mm,
one of the things he asks of the executives is give me 10 songs that you feel carry the vibe that your company wants, and he takes that into account because
mm.
like there's so much emotional that is captured just in that. And
That's a good
so
idea.
I think for you guys, having an outside objective
Mm,
designer listen through the first 3 years of your music and say, we want you to help us craft the vision of what we look like. I think
mm,
that a professional to fill in that gap is 100% worth the investment down the road.
mm.
That would be my recommendation. Just having the visual into what that realm looks like.
Duly noted. Duly noted. Thank you for the advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Objective outsider is really helpful for sure.
Yeah.
That's
How
huge.
how long, oh man. Well, we have 3 minutes left on our video call. What would be one of the last things you think is still on your chest you'd want to say is like a milestone that you feel like you haven't gotten to say on this podcast yet?
Gosh, I don't know. I feel like I would say something really cliche, but so true is that it's better to just do. It's better to I don't know, quantity over quality. It's better to do something that's good enough than to like strain and like get paralyzed over something that is like not perfect. I definitely rigidity, like mental rigidity and like perfectionism has been a huge thing I've had to learn. And I think a lot of times there's no rules. Like, just do it. Like, just put it out, do it badly. My favorite analogy is like Ed Sheeran talks about songwriting, like turning on a faucet in an old house, and at first it's just like dirty water, and you just have to keep running until the water comes out clear. And that's what a lot of creative stuff is. You're gonna suck at a lot of things, but like it's always better to fail forward and just do it, just put it out there, like get feedback and take the feedback in, but also know that it is just opinions also. Like feedback isn't everything, but it is something. And
Yeah,
I don't know, that's the advice I would say the past year of me internalizing that has helped the most is just do it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah, Nike. Sponsored by.
That and Shia LaBeouf, which I saw a video the other day. It was like we were too young to realize it wasn't just a meme. It was actually an inspirational video. And now we look back and we're like, wow, that really was inspirational.
Full circle.
Full circle. Hey Joy,
So
it
funny.
was such a pleasure to have you on this podcast. I 100% enjoyed it.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. I genuinely enjoyed this conversation. I forgot it was an interview a couple times. Truly, like it was great talking to you.
Oh man. Yeah, well, some point I'll be traveling and I'll have to stop by and meet the band. I think it'd be really fun.
I would love to see you live. I'm really curious about like what just how it works, like your flow and everything.
There'll be a
I'm
video.
Yes. Really? Like
Yeah.
first show there's gonna be a video?
Yeah. I
Oh, I'm
mean,
so excited.
yeah. We will record it. It'll be good.
Huge.
Say a
Huge.
prayer for it.
Definitely. Easily.
Anyways, we'll have to catch up some other time. And
Sounds good.
yeah, I'll talk to you when I talk to you.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.